I'm here to share with you some of the continuing after effects of what happened to me as a near-death experience. The first I remembered was 1964, and as I began to understand what had happened then, I found that my whole life had been different, and things seemed to be just unfolding. And now, for me, life is kind of like a flower. It's blooming. It continues to open up, but at the same time, it sort of moves in on itself. It's a very interesting thing. And almost as the moments go by, more and more comes to me, more of the sweetness and the gentleness of people I meet on the street. Some people are in great pain, some people are unable to speak, some people are homeless, but I find that I can see through that and love them beyond their tattered clothing or their confusion or their dirty hair or whatever. And so as it unfolds, I find that daily, more and more, I'm at peace. I'm finding an inner stillness within myself, and that is so helpful. I've often felt very alone in life, yet now I look at it from the standpoint of understanding what had happened to me and realize that there has been angels or spirit guides or whatever you like to call them. They've been with me. They've kept me out of trouble. They have moved accidents out of the way of possible situations, or have kept me from being badly injured by intervention. I don't know how to explain that. But my life now is almost a daily joy just to go out and go to the grocery store and just everyday stuff. Riding the bus where I live, and I just see beautiful people on the bus or meet somebody at a bus stop and have a wonderful conversation with somebody and really don't even know the person's name. Well, this is a sweet example. Right before Christmas, I got on the bus, and there was a little child sitting there, and she looked at me, and I just knew that she wanted me to come talk to her. She was about a year old. So I slid over and I said hi, and she just kind of was happy and jumping up and down as little children will do, and her mom was kind of like, I don't know what to think about this at first. But then her mom looked at me, and the child was still bouncing around, and then I sort of calmed myself down because it was so sweet with this child. And then I had a very wonderful conversation with this lady and her child for about 30 minutes on the bus. And I realized that the little child was the connector. She was connecting me with her mom, and I was able to have a very sweet interaction with someone and be there as just, I don't know, it was beautiful. And then we got to town, and she got off the bus, and I don't even know the person's name. That's not important. The joy I received, I could not have bought at any store or anything else. The divine, God, whatever you like to call it, gave me an opportunity to be there for someone, to be kind to them, to love them, and let them go on their way. This happens often where I meet people, and there's a kindness. They look at me, they say, don't I know you from someplace? And I go, well, I don't know. Actually, I look at them sometimes, and it's like, I see their sweetness. Sometimes I will say, yeah, I see your sweetness. I usually say this to ladies, I don't say it to men, but often on the bus or other places, somebody will be reading a book, and I'll say, well, that's an interesting book. It's a spiritual book, let's say, with this Indian masters or something, and suddenly we're in a conversation. And the person, I can feel their happiness that they're able to share with someone that understands what they're reading and so forth. So for me, it's kind of like, it's a peeling of the onion sort of thing. Daily, more is revealed. And one thing that's a little bit of a struggle sometimes is when I'm at home, I have my sacred space in the apartment I live in. And sometimes it's hard to just go outside because there's a lot of joy and things to expect out there, but I kind of get in this quiet space. And what I understood from that and began to really find from that was we can have a sacred space within, a still space, a serene space, where we can just be still, quiet. The mind slows down and the thoughts go away. And it's beautiful. Trees begin to just look happy. things look happy. The spider crawling across the desk, I can talk to it and say, you need to stay off the desk, but I don't get upset with it. And this is a great joy. And it's taken years, but it keeps unfolding. It keeps getting better. It's like I say, it's like a flower blooming. And when I go out the door to go someplace, when I expect the unexpected and go with that and don't go looking for someone or something particularly, I am just daily amazed how the divine will put people in places that I can have a wonderful conversation with someone, maybe share with them, maybe help them do something, get something into their car, or just talk with them, or maybe they've had some tragedy in their life, and that's happened sometimes. People will share things with me as if I have the answer, and it's not what I give them in words as an answer. It's about being there for them and being still and listening, which is very difficult sometimes for me. But when I'm still and listen and go inside and listen, I'm amazed at how peaceful it is. And even people that are a little bit grumpy sometimes usually will just go on about their way. Sometimes they will look at me with this kind of dazed, amazed look on their face. It's not about me, but it is a wonderful, joyous thing to experience this. And I'm not here to have a contest of how many times I've died, but I've had a couple of 4 or 5 pretty major things where I was observing myself on the floor or laying on the bed or something thinking, oh, he's not breathing. On occasions, perhaps I was kind of scolded by the divine, like, you got this far, man, you need to stay here. You have a mission. I'm thinking, well, what's that? It's not about the mission being beyond this point. It's when I can stay more present in the moment, wonderful and joyous things happen. I meet beautiful people, and it just makes my life happy. And I don't have to do anything as much as I have to be still, be quiet, and listen. And I don't know how to put it, because it really is ineffable, which means there's no way to put words around it. And in all reality and truth, my whole life's been that way. When I really tried to describe something beautiful and wonderful and loving and kind, I couldn't find the really perfect words or adequate words. It was very frustrating. And then I realized that it wasn't about the words. It was about the space between the words, the quietness that comes between the words. It's like reading a spiritual book, be it the Bible, the Koran, the Torah, many of the Indian teachings. I don't remember all the names of the books. It's not about those words. It's about the space and the message that comes between the words. I'll read a book, and then maybe a couple of weeks later or even years later, I start rereading it, and I'm amazed at what comes forth from these books, because there's a message that is between the words. And I think that's the joy of life. It's not about what we say, about what we do. It's about who we are and about being still. So I'm here just to share that. It's truly a blessing, and many people have had what we call a near-death experience, and it's a somewhat personal, subjective experience, but it's what each one of us needs. So my dear friends, bless you, be still, and thank you for being here.